What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants. No hate. So, I want you guys to listen to something because this is very powerful to me. This is very important because when I speak to you guys about things, I don't tell you things just to say it. And my memory, okay, of things that I watched when it was current, things that I watched over and over again, even though it was already old, but just to study, just to get a feel, watch different videos and things linked to that and other stuff, just to get a feel of that time, things of that nature, right? I don't talk just to talk. I don't have to sit here and tell you I'm the best in the business, I'm this, I'm that, oh, these other channels. I don't have to, but I will tell you that a lot of these other channels are full of shit. And I also will tell you there's some that I respect, but I don't really mess with these people because, arrogant, egotistical motherfuckers and me don't get along. And, I'm not one for the fucking silly ass games. I want you guys to pay attention to this because it's something I've been telling you guys forever. Forever. We've been hearing back in the day, everybody fought everybody. This person fought this person. I'm like, nah. It was a lot easier to make fights back in the day. Guys wanted to fight back in the day. And, you had more of the best fighting the best more often than you do now. But there were different circumstances as well. And I feel like the fighters of old had more heart and smarts in terms of how they fought in the ring. Not that they always fought the best way, because you had fighters that fought stupid ways all the time. And there's no era of time. Like I tell you guys, I'm not stuck in any time zone where this fighter, no. But there are times where I feel like, this set of fighters right here would have crushed these fighters or this, that, or whatever. Or okay. It's not about a bias with me. I want you guys to listen to something. I've been telling you this, okay, for the longest time. But people, they have this, they just speak about things they don't even know. They just repeat what they hear. This is Rocky Marciano. This video was in 1968, the day before he died. I want you to hear what Rocky Marciano has to say about the boxing game. No, August 31st, 1969, actually, 69.
Of all your fights, who would you say offered you the greatest fear, the greatest competition? Did you ever walk into a ring afraid of any fight?
Not afraid, but always a little bit anxious, a little bit maybe weary about what could happen. There's one thing that you never know for sure. If you get hit in the right place at the right time, you can go down. Now, I always had the feeling that I couldn't be knocked out.
And you never were?
And I never was. But I was always aware that I could be knocked down. And it's kind of embarrassing to be knocked down in a ring, especially when you're the heavyweight champ of the world. So you have this little fear of not wanting to look bad, not wanting to even be knocked down, but to be superior in every way.
This is pride as much as anything else?
I guess it is.
Pride in yourself?
Pride of ownership of winning something that is big.
Rocky, when you started up the ladder, boxing then was not tainted. Boxing was a legitimate, highly respected sport. You great athletes came into boxing. You did it because you were hungry, apparently. What caused the demise of the decency of boxing? And certainly today, while I'll not judge it as being indecent, it certainly is not an acceptable form of sport like it used to be. Why is that?
Well, I think it's because boxing has become the money game. It's very, very commercial. The fighters today only think of what they're going to earn. They don't have the competitive spirit anymore. They've lost the boyish enthusiasm of what was once a great sport, really.
They've lost that pride.
They've lost it. They've lost the college spirit, and today it's how much can I make and who can I fight, and I don't want to fight him because he's too good and I won't make enough money. I'd better fight this fella because he's a bigger drawing card and I'll make more money and he's less of a risk.
Well, Is this going to be a permanent state of affairs in boxing? Will we always expect then that boxing will stay at this low ebb, this low state of acceptance?
It seems to be running in that channel. It's too bad because I've always said we need a boxing czar, a boxing commissioner who could straighten out these little problems like football has done, like baseball has done, basketball. Every sport has prospered, every sport has progressed, but boxing. Boxing is in still the same bad shape as it was 10 years ago, and I don't see any improvement at all.
You think that a czar sitting in judgment of the caliber of the men and the matchmakers and so forth might straighten this out, and if the society were less affluent and some poor boys sought the championship and the gold that went with it, we could return to what boxing used to be?
I really do. I think we need a lot of men in the field like policemen, just watching, their area and their territory, and I think that boxing could improve. I think it could be brought back to a sport, and I know the American public has always liked boxing because we were in 95% of the champions were Americans. It's an American sport just like baseball, except it's not called the American pastime. But if it were improved a little bit, and if we had control, and if we had people really doing a job, I think that boxing really could come back.
All right, now taking it back to your beginning as a fighter, when was your first recognition of the fact that you maybe had the power, the stamina, the physical physique to seek out a champion or to seek out a career in boxing? How old were you then, Rob?
I was 22 years old. I had been fighting 1 year, and I fought a man who was regarded as a real test. He was a hard puncher, a New York boy who had 17 straight knockouts, and he was just the man in front of me. I had to get by him. And so we fought in 1949, December of 49. And I took a pretty good punch, a couple of good punches, and finally I was able to knock him out.
Who was it, Rob?
His name was Carmen Vingo, and he was really coming up the ladder. Well, it so happened that he hit his head on the flooring, and it sent him unconscious, and he went to the hospital, and he never fought again. He was a man that was paralyzed a little bit with his fingers and hands
as
a result of that fight, and there was a change in the ruling. From then on, padding was put on the flooring of the ring, and Carmen Vingo pulled through, and he mentioned the fact that he had never been hit so hard, and he gave me an awful lot of credit, and he told me that he wished that I would win the title to prove to his friends that he was not beaten by just another fighter.
Lost to a champion.
Yes.
Now, August 31st,
At Ben Foster,
1969,
I can earn my...
the day before Marciano died. He's telling you everybody is looking to basically cherry pick. Can't beat him. Let me fight this guy. He's an easier touch. Have I not? Okay? Have I not? I guess if I was one of those channels that had like 50,000 subscribers, people would pay more attention to the truth then. And I tell you guys, I'm not here to be a puppet or jump on the bandwagon with the go along, get along gang. I don't do that. At the end of the day, he's telling you the same thing. I've been telling you guys, boxing is and always have been a sport. There is nobody who fights just to fight. If you are, you're dumb, because this is how you make your money. This is how you feed your family and yourself. Okay? This is how you keep the lights on. I don't understand how people don't understand this. Now, when I hear people say, back in the day, everybody fought everybody, and I tell you that's not necessarily true. Now, there's a lot of things you have to consider, which people don't. One, even when he's talking about this is an American sport, a lot of these fights wasn't even in America. A lot of it, especially the heavyweight champion fight, most of them, they weren't even a lot of them wasn't even in America. Okay, at the end of the day though, fighting through racial tension, racism, all this kind of stuff, prejudice, all this kind of stuff. You had different things going on and not to mention the money then. It fit the economy that they were in, but fighters fought more, and it's not like every fighter. And that's why I said, if you go through boxing records, you'll see that, no, it's not like every fighter back then had 100-something fights or whatever it is. Marciano himself was 50-0. You understand what I mean? He didn't have 100-something fights. Certain people fought more so than others. For one, you had to get a name. Two, until you had a name, you wasn't making good money. So they fought as often as they could. So less injuries, the more you can fight. More wear and tear on your body. And through the long haul, you can see the effects on a lot of these fighters. And not to mention, almost all of them ended up broke. That's how their careers ended. This is what you do for a living. You should be properly compensated. But I'm telling you, all that overrated nonsense about how everybody fought everybody. Now, when he talked about the fight game being better 10 years prior, that meant 1959, right? Because this was 1969. And I'm saying, for the people that don't understand this, anytime a business model changed, the mind of the people, the employees or whatever, who's tied into it, it changes with it. When you look at a guy like Muhammad Ali, and everybody brag about how great Muhammad Ali was, the greatest of all time, and the most Ali ever made in one fight was $8 million. Yeah, the heavyweight champ of the world. So this is what I'm saying. Back then, $8 million is still a lot of money, but back then, it was like, okay, but it took him, and I think that was the Holmes fight. So it took him, in his prime, he didn't make that. You understand what I'm saying? It took him to get older to make that. And this is what I'm telling you about boxing. And what he's saying about the boxing game having no structure, it's been like that. Too many people get involved. This is why, see, when I say you have all these different sanctioning bodies, on one hand, it helps fighters who normally wouldn't have a title shot, or maybe, with a particular person, different guys can become, can become belt holders. Let's put it like that. And help you make a little more money or whatever it may be. But the prestige in boxing is no longer about boxing. Biggest problem with boxing, everybody wants to be a celebrity. It's all about entertainment. People don't care about the fight. Everything is important except for the fight itself. So when these fighters are they're doing the same thing. They're trying to fight an easier guy, afraid to lose, all of this type of stuff. And bottom line, with you having endorsements now, like all these things that happen, yeah, the fighters ain't gonna come out and admit, hey man, shit, if I lose this fight, I lose everything. I don't want to lose that. I don't want to jeopardize that. They don't want to be honest and tell you that. They want to talk like they're not worried about that guy. But everybody knows different, man. I can't even say everybody knows. No, there's a lot of brainwashed people out there. This is what I'm telling you guys. Stop repeating the nonsense that everybody feed you. Everybody fought everybody. No. Every one of these fighters had someone that they didn't want to fight, and someone that, hey, you know what, I do want to fight this guy. But at the same time, to be the very best and to maintain a certain status, there's certain fighters you're not going to fight, even if you want to, simply because, like you said, high risk, low reward, that type of thing. I'm not going to really make any money. That's what it comes down to. But then the fanboy idiots will sit up and tell you, oh, he's scared because of this and because of that, with guys that never showed you that they were afraid to fight anybody. And one thing I'll say, I can't say what's going on in somebody's head, or how they truly feel about someone. I can only go by what they say and what they do. And, it doesn't always add up. But one thing is for sure. When you are making claims and people say everybody fought everybody, and I say pick an era, and I start naming fighters that never fought, pick another era. Let's start naming fighters that never fought, pick another era. That clearly debunks the claim. And people love to speak without having anything to support that claim. No evidence. Let's just talk. Let's just say things. Because they're not used to being challenged. So they'll tell you anything, and you eat it right up. Because they're talking on behalf of who you like. They're speaking against who you don't like. All of this type of nonsense. But when you break it down, it's all about the truth. Aries is never about what I want to believe, what I want to be true. No, it's about what can we prove? What is the truth? What is the facts? And words coming out of a person's mouth doesn't always tell you what the truth is. So there's several fighters that never fought each other. And when you pick a side, you're going to say the reason is for the guy, on the opposing side. It's his fault. How do you know that? Where does that come from? Because he never ducked nobody. What's your evidence that it was his fault? And they can't do that. They just start babbling. Now, there was a lot of things. The mafia was always involved in boxing. People took hits because they took dives because they was afraid they was going to, hey, if you don't, take a dive, as soon as the fight's done, we're going to kill you. Or we're going to go to your house and kill your kids and your wife. And a lot of crazy stuff happened in boxing. And these stories come up about who did what and who was tied into what. There's a lot of things. Now, in terms of just people deciding, making a conscious decision to not fight someone because they're afraid of hey, man, I might lose to this guy. That's more, all that is a part of it. But that's more so what I'm talking about. When nothing and no one is stopping you from fighting that person except for you. Now, you heard it from a guy that said this very same thing that Aries is telling you right now and have been telling you for the past couple of years. Boxing is a business. Anytime something grows, right, and it becomes a corporation, it comes like a huge corporation to the world, and that people know it, everybody, has heard of it, even if they never saw it, but they know who it is, they know what it is, what it does. Yeah, it becomes commercialized. Okay, let's take rap music for instance. There was a time where people was making low budget movies, Breaking, Beat Street, all this kind of stuff, and this wasn't like global phenomenons. This wasn't movies everywhere you went. Everybody's talking about this movie. No, this was like hood local type shit. This wasn't, these wasn't huge movies, and the rappers really had skill and everything. And then, as time go up, okay, hip hop is growing little, but it's growing. And now you got these rappers that have all these lyrics, but they're not making the kind of money that commercial rapper is making. And somebody has an idea. You know what? What you're doing is cool. But if you want to really, really make money, we have to get a whole new demographic of fans to come along with the ones that you already have. But what they learn the hard way is, well, now once you start making that commercial music, the so-called street dudes, this shit watered down. He got corny. He used to be the man. Now he's garbage, and they leave. Now your new fans come in. If it gets to the point now we have 20 more rappers rapping just like you and you become stale, what did they always do? They always tried to resort back to trying to go back to their street style. And for most of them, pretty much, it was too late. It's like, Some of them might get lucky enough to do a collaboration with somebody that's new and hot, and that might revive their career. And if they follow it up right, then come out with another album, and okay, they're back in. But more so, no. For the most part, no. That most people don't get to find their way back in. Okay, so yeah, and it becomes commercial, and that's what happens. Okay, battle rap. You have a battle rapper who's dating a rapper or ex-rapper or whatever the hell she is, who's beefing with Clarissa Shields. You understand that everything battle rap was on, they had it a part of some award show or whatever. So, you understand, anytime something starts to grow, that's the whole point. What can we do with this product and make it huge? Like, what can we do? What can we do to really take this to the next level? And if that happens, this is what I'm telling you. This is exactly why. If right now a younger person does a reaction video to like rappers from years ago, they're like, yo, these motherfuckers was spitting. Because you know why? Let's just be real. This era is producing bullshit. And just when they thought that little ABC, romper room style that these rappers are doing was hot, they going, damn. And they're saying these rappers really can't rap in my era. Yeah, you thought you heard some hot shit until you start going back to the essence and you go, damn, okay. And they can do reaction videos to every one of these different eras of time. And they can see how the game evolved. because people act like anything that's good right now, it just started in 2020 or something. Like, no. And they don't understand that there's people that paved the way for you to enjoy what you're listening to or watching right now, places that you go. So, yeah, Rocky Marciano basically said the same thing I've been telling you guys. And the fact that people have this fantasy that everybody fought no, that's not how it went. It was easy to put fights together. And fighters were more willing. But you had a lot of fighters that they cherry picked. And you heard it from someone who's saying the same thing, once again, in 1969. He called it commercial. You understand? And he's everything that I ever told you guys. You heard Marciano say the same thing. And like I said, there's different reasons for things that happen. Some is understandable. And then you always have this person is just trying to do what this person did. And it becomes a thing where, people start to catch on. Now, let me say this. I saw an article where Turkey Al-Sheikh, he has some type of gathering. And as you know, he now owns Ring Magazine. So he had, I saw Canelo, Racist Ryan was on there. There's they had several people on there on the photo. And basically, this is probably where he made his presentation. They had some type of festivities. I didn't see a video. I just read the article, but I saw a couple of pictures. And basically, what he's saying is another thing that Aries have been telling you guys for the longest. Boxing needs something different. And I gave my ideas, and out of all of my ideas, I said one particular thing too. It should be ran like similar to like the way like the UFC and PFL, like you don't have all these different sanctioning bodies, but it's going to take somebody with a lot of money to do this, right? And this is the type of thing that Turkey Al-Sheikh is talking about, where you don't need to have 3, 4, 5 belts, separate champions all in one division. No, you have your undisputed champion. So Turkey Al-Sheikh is his vision on that. And like I said, I called him out for I didn't like the treatment that they was giving Joseph Parker. Because it's like this dude beat Wilder, he beat Zhang, and yet you're offering Wilder the title shot based on what you feel like Wilder's more popular than Parker. So what are you spoon feeding this guy for? He lost. Give Parker his shot. Okay, now, and not to mention, not that his opinion has to be the same as mine or anybody else's, but him and Anthony Joshua had a little thing going back and forth with. They picked who they thought was going to win on the whole card. And I think they said they both, this guy, I think is Liam Smith, one of the Smith brothers, one of them Smith guys rather, is fighting. That's the one fight they agreed on. But I forget the other. But I forget who they both picked for Bivol and Arthur Beterbiev. And not to mention, that's the headliner. Dubois versus Parker is co-main event. I don't even know if they're calling it co-main event. But it's not the headliner. So I'm assuming at this point, more than likely it will be the co-main event, if you want to call it that. But he's picking, Turkey Al-Sheikh is picking Dubois. AJ's picking Parker. Well, once again, we know that Turkey Al-Sheikh has no problem with letting the fighter know how he feels about, hey, man, I want you to win. I need you to knock this guy out. I'm believing in you. And, he told Wilder, I can see it in your eyes. I believe you. I believe, whatever. And then Wilder got stopped, by Zhang. And it's like, no, man, you get these guys on the card. They win. Okay, get them back. And I spoke about all of that. But what Turkey is talking about is pretty much every weight class that he has under his belt, where these people, it looks like he's building an actual league. I saw a picture of him holding a belt that said undisputed. I didn't get to see the full picture. I don't know if the belt looks just like the belt on the game. This one appeared to be of a darker color. But at the same time, listen, this is what boxing needs. And I told you, if the money's there, what excuse do they have to not want to fight? So anybody can say, I want to fight 3-4 times a year. I want all the smoke. Hey, if money was the issue and now all of a sudden money's not the issue is you. Why don't you want to fight when somebody's providing you the platform where, hey, we can make these fights happen? So that's a plus. And pretty much the old boxing model needs to die. This needs to replace that. Like everybody, this needs to become like the new boxing model. We don't need, I mean, and it's going to be difficult. And I feel like for him to do it, he'll be like the only one for a long time, because no one wants to lose money. And these so-called champions will be afraid of the fact that, hey man, you know, if all these belts go away and it's just one champion per division, you know, that's less money. You remember when Dubois got beat by Joe Joyce, and then Dubois went and had a shot at that WBA regular title? They're like, how? You lost, but you get the reward. And this is what I'm saying. So that's exactly what Turkey did when it came to Wilder. So hopefully this, you know, his plan goes in effect and it works out for the better for everybody. Boxing as a whole, it's not like, you know, these other, you know, companies and promotions are going anywhere. But if what Turkey does, and I don't know all the details of what he's trying to do, I just know what the article said. But boxing needs to do better than what it's been doing. And you see nothing's really moving. We spent more time talking about possible fights. Rumor has it, which I'm going to get into another rumor has it situation that I read the same day, which was yesterday. So, along in this article, there was another article attached to it that said that Tank Davis is feeling some kind of way simply because Turki Ali Sheikh didn't invite him. And my thing with that is, this is the same Tank Davis. Like I said, your words and actions can come back and haunt you. This is the same guy that said, hey man, they better have 2 Lamborghinis outside my house just to get me to even come over there to have a meeting with them. Well, I don't know. Maybe he wanted 2 Lamborghinis just to come out, you know, to this function. But yeah, I can understand the fact that you are one of the top, you know, level fighters out there. One of the top guys, popularity wise, all of that stuff. You know, money, and not to mention you made racist Lion Ryan, you know, quit on a body shot. You know, he could have continued, but you took his heart from you. You took his courage, took his bravery, and he couldn't. He didn't want to continue. Okay, so I get that. The fact that did he deserve to be there based on, hey man, shit, I beat this dude, of course, and his status in the game. But just like when Lomachenko walked away, it's like ever since he walked away, and Tank is talking about retiring, and all of a sudden he's fighting Lamont Roach, who's a decent fighter. But at the same time, the problem, Tank, is you could have fought Shakur Stevenson, and you was more focused on Shakur having a bad performance. You know, you could have fought Keyshawn Davis, who you said looked better than Shakur. You know, back when De La Hoya fought Bernard Hopkins and he got stopped with that body shot, Oscar, the fight before that, I forget the name of the guy that he fought, but that guy basically beat De La Hoya. They gave De La Hoya the fight because they was trying to they were setting up the fight between De La Hoya and Hopkins. Felix Sturm, yeah, he really, in my opinion and most people's opinion, outside of the De La Hoya fanboys, because the real ones know, Felix won that fight. He won that fight. Oscar kept saying, I know I can do better. He knew it wasn't just the disappointment because of the performance. Like, he knew he didn't really win that fight. That's what hit him. He knew it. And they gave him the fight. And then he went there and got the fight against Hopkins anyway. Now, my point is, what if Hopkins would have said, oh, man, no fight. He got to get a big win first. Hey, you want the fight or no? And if you're gonna go by that, then boxing wouldn't be based on wins and losses and who earned shots. It'd be based on like the flip of a damn coin or some nonsense like that. And my thing is, you see, you're more focused on being invited to something that strokes your ego. You shot down everything that's going on over there and calling people fools for going over there. You don't see, it ain't nothing but hype. It's not what people think. And I mean, you shot it down. You showed no interest. You're talking about, your ego made you saying your stupidity made you say they better have 2 Lamborghinis outside my house. If they even want me to go talk about a negotiation with a fight. It's just the idea of a fight. Okay, just the mere formalities of it. And they're supposed to reach out to you for what? And this is part of like what Marciano was talking about as well. The same thing we all know, but the cherry picking. But I'm not selective with, it's whoever. And like I told you, the thing with these people, man, is this. And especially when people use Floyd to say, well, Floyd's 50-0. Some of these dudes are like 25-0, 26-0, 30 years old, 33 years old. Like you got a long way to go to catch Floyd's record. And on top of that, that's my point. Floyd was putting the work in. Okay, these dudes is not trying to make an exit strategy next 2-3 fights. Their whole career right now, for the next 5-6 years, okay, or however long, is easy fight. Try to understand. It doesn't matter the excuses that people make. The reality is, you do what you do, and how it comes back to haunt you, if at all. And it will come back and haunt a whole lot of people, if not most, because what you're doing right now is burning bridges with people, and you're putting yourself because you know that you are a big piece of this boxing puzzle, and you're gonna make your money anyway. What happens when people are getting better deals? Shakur Stevenson is saying he believed that Turkey would be the man that could make the fight happen with Tank. Nah, nobody can make Tank want to fight. Tank has to want to fight. He has to want to. And the crazy thing about it is, before you get a fight with Lamont Roach, you talking about retiring and having lack of interest in the sport and all this kind of nonsense. So why are you so concerned about showing up to a Ring magazine, pound for pound, whatever type of function they had? But yet you had no interest in going to negotiate a fight. You see what I'm saying? So that's all a part of it. Tyson Fury says no fight with Anthony Joshua. That he pretty much is retiring. And let's look at AJ. Fury's never showed any interest in fighting Anthony Joshua at no point. Never. At no point. He pretended. After AJ lost, he pretended. But he turns around and he says no fight with AJ. Before the Usyk fight, the first fight, he said the same thing. And he talked about, I beat Wilder twice. This man beat AJ twice. And okay, what does that have to do with anything else? Right? People still saying, yeah, but. All right, that ship sailed a long time ago for me. I lost interest in that fight when it didn't happen simply because for all of the stupid reasons that fighters decide to not fight a person, and then you look at like what's going on, and everything is about just making assertions about things, but never really giving you any detail about anything, and just saying a bunch of nonsense. And, then Anthony Joshua loses his fight with Dubois. Then he turns around and he's asked a question, like, who would win between him and, between AJ and Fury? And AJ goes, only God knows. It doesn't sound like you're confident, man. Are you amped up to see a fight when you got one guy that never really wanted to fight the opponent he's finally about to fight? And then the guy he's finally about to fight is talking about, only God knows. Like, he has no faith in himself. So, I don't see that fight being anything like what people would hope it would be. And it would simply be, you can say the boxing world would tune in, but this more so than anything is AJ's fans versus Fury's fans as far as the people are concerned, because this is an all British heavyweight fight, which more than likely wouldn't happen over here in the States if the two of them fought, which doesn't bother me at all. But it's just the point that when you had two guys hungry in their prime, that's when you want to see it. Fury come off 2 back-to-back losses to Usyk. And I told you guys, Aries was the one that told you. The same way anybody, he lost to Usyk, then he lost again. He lost twice. And like I told you guys, well, out of the big three, Fury or Wilder is yet to fight Usyk. What makes you so sure that Fury can beat Usyk? I would go with Usyk. I think Usyk can beat Fury. I don't know, Aries. Dude got that long reign. We'll see. I'm not here to debate it. We'll see. But I'm going with Usyk. Did I not tell you all that both times? I'm going with Usyk. Not only do I want him to win, I feel like he can. I said, now, unless he goes there and just fights stupidly all of a sudden, he's too smart for Fury. Look at how the fight played out, both of them. Fury goes with the excuses. If you don't knock a guy out, this is what happens. And after you call the man a middleweight, and I told y'all he was bluffing, he don't even believe the words he's saying. I just need 2 weeks for this guy. Yeah, he did all this talk, fought him on the back foot. So, anybody can make their mouth do this. That's not what it's about, though. And the fact that, picture this. What if Roy Jones versus Bernard Hopkins 2 was their first fight? They wait till they were way past their prime to finally fight. Only at this point, now, Hopkins got more left in the tank than Roy at this point. But otherwise, that performance versus, like at that stage in their careers, is like, okay. My point, and the fight didn't have that. When they first fought, neither one was a superstar yet. So they didn't have the popularity on that first fight that they would gain in their careers later on. But by the time they fought the second time, Roy was already on that losing streak, wasn't the same guy. Hopkins was older, not the same, but he's older than Roy. So, who really cared? And when you talk about boxing matches of the past, who's bringing that fight up? And this is why I say, man, don't listen to people tell you something and then you just go jump on somebody's channel and repeat what they told you. And you think that they've been telling you something really important or true. And my thing is, people don't even care if what they're hearing is true. It just sounds good to them. They want to believe something and they don't even question it. And yeah, for a man to be telling you these things in 1969, here it is 2025, man, and people like to tell you how, like I said, all these great fights. And you got to remember something, too. When you watch fights, in a video vault, man, you can go and pick anything. And you can go after fight after fight after fight and not pay attention to how many years apart these fights are, even fights that you had the same year or whatever it may be. But, boxers, for anytime there's less money involved, you get more quality. When there's more money involved, it's more the focus of quantity. You understand? So they don't really care. I mean, even when you grew up watching wrestling, right? Wrestling had storyline. Yeah, the guys would come out and talk for a few minutes and whatever. Now it's like a big ass soap opera. Everything you see is over dramatic, boring most of the time. Like, what the hell are they even fighting for? Like, stuff that just makes no sense. Time goes on. Things change. People do things certain ways. This is what I've been telling you guys, though. And this is why a lot of times I sit here and I listen to people talk and I just shake my head because I'm like, man, your timeline is all off. You're completely wrong about what you're saying. And even when you're saying something that's true, once again, our opinions are opinions. But I can tell you, at least my opinion is based on the facts. Not what I want to believe. Not how I want to see things. And we can go through, so many different fighters, like I said, that never fought each other. But when you look at, it's why didn't the fight happen? This is why I get away from this whole, everybody want to point the finger. But what are you pointing the finger for? What are we pointing fingers for? Because this fight didn't happen. So whose fault was it? And it's always the opposition's fault. How we measure things. Okay, if, like, just say, for example, a build-up between Fury and AJ, the similarities of what they have in common basically is the fact that they both got beat by Usyk. on one hand, you can say Fury put up a better fight than AJ did. You know, he boxed it a little better. AJ was never hurt by Usyk the way Fury was. So there's things you can consider. And it's all still going to come down to what happens once they get in the ring. But once again, here's a fight that's not going to happen simply because it didn't happen when it was supposed to. Now, the other thing that I heard, that I read, was that Canelo and Crawford have agreed to fight in September. And in boxing, I don't focus on something I hear being true until I start to see advertisements and things like that. People start posting things on their channels. If I'm not getting that, I have no reason to really get hyped up, which I don't anyway. But you know what I'm saying. I have no reason to get like really into it, as if like it's for sure until I know. If this fight happens and Canelo finally decided to make his presence felt, to go over there and see Turkey, if, you know, for him to even be crying about the money, if somebody says, here's the money you asked for, and you still don't want to fight, that means no, it had nothing to do with the money. You just were scared to fight that particular person. Now, Crawford has been talking about $20 million to fight Jerron Boots Ennis. Canelo went from $150 million to $200 million to fight David Benavidez. I don't know, and I don't care about what either guy's getting in this fight. But pretty much, if this fight actually happens, I'm going to sum it up like this. I told you guys before, if Canelo had a choice, David Benavidez, David Morrell, who was in the same division as him at one point, right? Or Terence Crawford. Those are the three names that kept coming up. He already beat Caleb Plant. But those are the three names. Out of those three, he picked Crawford. Remember me telling you that. And why did I say it? Because he more likely feel like it's the safer choice of the three. Simply because Crawford is coming up from 2 weight divisions down. That's the only reason. That's the only reason. It was 3, now it would be 2 because he's been at 154. But bottom line, that's the only real reason. That and, you know, the money has to be, he has to be satisfied with the money. And it's like, as long as he don't make an excuse and turn the money down to not fight, you know, these guys, hey, now I'm not focusing on Crawford being the naturally smaller guy. I don't really care about that. My reason for not caring about that fight was simply because you already had 2 guys you definitely should have fought already. And the fact of the matter is, for these guys to pump up a fight between him and Crawford because of what Crawford has accomplished at the smaller weights, and then Crawford fans want Crawford to be able to say he also beat Canelo because they want Crawford to be seen as better than Floyd. You know, all this kind of stuff and you hear the things people say, you see the things they type. Then you have like the Canelo fans that feel more comfortable because Crawford's a smaller guy. And pretty much, I don't care if you say a guy dared to be great or whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. All people are going to remember is who won and who lost. And as far as this fight happening, you know, this is the rumor that I read, and it's too much for me to post up in the community section simply because I can post it separately where I have the logo and the article cover and all that from the online service that this story was on, and then put the story in the next one. But the way it's so long that it's just not worth it. So I figured I'd just make the video and I'll mention it in this video instead of even making a separate video. And yeah. I mean, you know, this is, you know, it's like I tell people, y'all sit up and watch this 16-minute Michael Jordan, you know, the Bulls mixtape, whatever. And then y'all make a decision on this man's career, even to say he's the greatest or however, which I don't care how you see any of them. But imagine you watch a 16-minute video and you're trying to talk to people that was there during the era, game after game, not watching a 16-minute video. What do you think that you're telling anybody? That you're schooling them on that they doesn't make a difference about opinions. If you want that smoke, you'll make it happen. And I feel like people have been repeating this shit. And if you went to every video and look at all these different content creators telling you how everybody fought everybody, I'm telling you, that's not the way it went. That is not the way it went. Here you go. Here you go. And you know what people tell you? That mentality started recently. No. That mentality has been around since the money increase came in. And it's like, damn, you could actually box, retire from boxing, and don't have to work again. Yeah. And like I said, economically, for every time period where you could live off of that at that time, like the money that you were getting is okay. But once you talking about mega millions and all this type of stuff, like, hey man, yeah. and I felt like, you know, every time I heard people say that, it's like, yeah. And you guys know I've talked about this in the past, and I know about this Marciano interview. There's 6 parts to it, and yeah, when I was watching it yesterday, I said I'm definitely going to talk about this. See, I need something to talk about in boxing. Boxing itself gives me nothing to talk about. It's sporadically, and it's like you never know what's true and what's not. I don't know. Somebody in the comment section posted that the opponent that they have for Wilder is supposed to be a different opponent. I don't know if they ever spoke about it or whatever, but Wilder's comeback fight is, I mean, these are those times, man, where somebody tell you that they don't need the money. It's hard to believe to me when you say that, but you're willing to come in there and fight an opponent that nobody knows at all, not even ranked, but you don't need the money. Now you find yourself in a position where here you are fighting a guy that's on the level of when you first get in the ring for the first time as a pro. And here you are a seasoned pro. So, y'all know what I say, right? You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And this is a situation where, for Wilder, I mean, he went from talking about Francis Ngannou, Anthony Joshua, even though we know that fight, he flushed it down the toilet himself, to fighting somebody who is not even ranked. And I posted that so you guys can see it. This guy's not even ranked. So whoever the other opponent is, I mean, Dan, listen, why don't Wilder just fight Jermaine Franklin? At least Jermaine Franklin does have some notoriety. He's more known for losing to Anthony Joshua and Dillian White than he is for any of his wins. So people, hey, he's a notable face. He can say he fought, Anthony Joshua, and he can say he fought White and Wilder. Why take a fight lesser than that? Because if it's about you getting your desire back, your will back, how you going to do that by fighting an unranked guy? Nah, this is money. This is money. You know, in training and sparring, you know if you still got it. You really do. It's a matter of you being honest with yourself. AJ, him, whatever it is he's going to do, I've seen a couple of articles about him, supposed return date, and all everything is just supposed. I saw a video where he was shadow boxing. I don't always know if this stuff is new or old. People post things like they might post, somebody can post a video today with today's date on it. The video might be 3 years old or 6 months old. I don't know. And everything I'm seeing, it just doesn't add up It's like that Gary Russell effect. He always has something to say about it. Everybody fight. He always did it chewing on that damn gum, all arrogant and cocky, analyzing everybody's fight and what he would have did and who don't want no smoke with him, but then he won't fight. Like, it's that type of thing. It just makes no sense. How are you talking, saying all these things, but you have no opponent? So like, what exactly are you saying? And just the boxing scene. We know Clarissa got a fight coming soon. And, so, like, for me, man, listen. I want to be able to talk about boxing, like I said. But me doing things that I'm doing outside of here, it takes my time away. But not only that, it's one of these things, like, I'm not sitting up here trying to entertain minions and fools and idiots. And it's far too many of them floating around on this internet. And they don't understand common sense. You got the idiotic keyboard warriors. You got the idiotic, I've never even seen this. I don't know what this is, but I'm going to support a claim to defend it. Like whatever it may be. And, for me to make videos just to have a bunch of morons sit up and listen and still don't understand what the hell I'm talking about or what the truth is. And this day and time, it's like, Dubois, Parker told him, man, you're overlooking this fight. You're looking too far ahead. And he's saying, hey, man, this is all, it's entertainment. I'm here to entertain the people. And hey, listen, you got to get past Parker first. It's one fight at a time. And, all the things as far as him calling out Usyk and everybody gets so caught up into these, he said this and this one did this and that whole entertainment bullshit. Boxing is so watered down, and it's like, now I'm hearing Keyshawn Davis has a fight coming up. I'm gonna look more into that and see what that's about. But boxing is so watered down that it's like, man, people don't even care about what's true. As long as they're entertained, they don't even care about the truth. They don't care about the right thing to do. All they care about is just, bowing and clapping to someone and acting like, they hit the lottery because the fighter that they like won, or, whatever it may be. So I just wanted to get this video out, and like I said, anytime something becomes mainstream, it becomes commercial, it gets watered down. Yeah. So, people can sit here and make up things, but like I told you, there was no perfect era of time. And these things have been going on for the longest time. And boxers started to take more control of their career, as they should. Larry Holmes let everybody know that as well. People can talk all that shit. Back in the day, everybody fought everybody. Yeah, I know all of y'all talk that bullshit like if you was a fighter, what you would have done. No, it's easy to talk some shit when you've never been in those situations. But plain and simple, like I said, we had better fights. We had more willing fighters that wanted to get in there and fight. But overall, yeah, one of the major differences is even the fighters that were cherry picking just had far more talent, more skill, more guts and determination than today's fighters. But aside from that, it's always been what it was. But it just picks up because even from the beginning to the days where, Marciano, back then it was more respectable fighters. Things change. And I look at it like this. If I'm the one punching people in the ribs, breaking their ribs, breaking their noses and jaws, people trying to break my nose, trying to break my ribs, trying to break my jaw, and somehow you got some old wrinkly man sitting up counting all the money, and I get the small portion, but I'm the one in there. I'm the workhorse. I'm the one in there that people came to see. They ain't come to see you. They came to see Ali, not Don King. And things like that. So, yeah, there's a lot that, when you're speaking about these things, is not to just make assertions about things without the explanation. And that's what people fail to do. They just talk, and they're trying to stroke their egos the whole time they're talking. It's not about me. It's not about that. It's basically, it's coming from me, but I'm explaining things, and I wanted people to hear this with their own 2 ears, as opposed to somebody telling you something as if they was there and they remember what they know. No, these motherfuckers ain't no boxing aficionados. They're just fanboys. They monetize their channels. These motherfuckers are doing 5-6 super chats a week. You know, they every time you see them, they're going live, and they're trying so hard to monetize and get money. And all right, cool, whatever. But they're not telling you anything new, and they're not telling you anything that's beneficial to the sport. They're just talking and giving their assessments, their biased assessments, and talking what they don't know, simply because they don't do their homework. They don't care to do their homework. They're all about creating an agenda, make the assertion of the agenda, right? And then they don't even have evidence. They say the same type of shit that these fucking content creators are saying, the same things that these other reporters and people that come with stories say. Well, my sources tell me, or trusted sources tell me. Nobody told you nothing. You saw somebody's video, or you said some shit, saw something online that you read or whatever, and then you made a video about it. And most of the time, people don't even read the whole article. I can tell. They read some of it, and then they think that they pretty much have the gist of everything that was said. Well, no, you understood that part, but you didn't see the whole thing. You didn't read the whole thing. Anyways, it is what it is. But boxing has definitely been watered down. And why do you think I'm not so enthusiastic about it like I used to be? Because I see the shift in the change already. It happened. It's happening. No, it's happened. It's already happened. And, I remember one of the family asked me, do I think that Turkey can really save boxing, like change it? I said, well, I think Turkey will get respected for what he do if he do it right, and everything else is out there, same thing if they can get it right. But everybody has their own lane, so who exists already exists. But as far as what he's doing, only time will tell how much it grows. And if boxing ever get to that point where it's respectable, it's not about, we got 8 champions in each division, all of this goofy stuff, all these crazy belts. Like, for what? What are all the belts about? So, you heard it from Aries. You've been hearing this for the past couple of years. You heard it from Rocky Marciano. This is a business, and it's always been a business. But these fighters, like I said, what I say more recently, like the NBA, these players play for stats, right? Just was talking about this in one of my previous videos. They play for stats. They're not even playing with the passion to win the game, to dominate the sport, to bring the sport to new levels. They're not even, no, it's all about trying to be a human highlight reel. Even if y'all lost, but I got my points. I did this, I did that. We lost because of them. I did my, all of these things. And yeah, once it gets to the point that the mindset of the people in charge running, they change how they see things for better or worse. That's what you're going to get from the fighters. Which direction they go, that's where they're going. That's the only way that it's going to work. But we'll see what happens with Turkey, what he's able to do, his impact. Talk to me in the comment section, y'all. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.